All right, Jesse and Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, Jon Jones and Mike Winkeljohn have had an ongoing problem since Winkeljohn told Jon Jones to leave the gym temporarily. And recently, Jon Jones made a very serious accusation at Winkeljohn and the gym, that being that they knowingly had someone on the staff for multiple years who had been convicted of the R word, which means taking something from a girl that she doesn't want to give, something that she needs to give you permission to take, or that you kind of have to agree on it together. And then if a guy just takes it, then it's a word that starts with an R that I can't say on YouTube, okay? So if you can't figure out what I'm talking about, maybe you would slip something in her drink and then you would, Jesus, okay. That's what actually happened in this case. So we're just, some foreshadowing, that's what actually happened. Let me just jump to that. So when I looked into this story, since Jon said they had someone on the staff that did this, I was like, is that true? Because I don't like the idea of people ever doing that. And I realized I almost default to not believing it every time because it's so unfathomable to me that someone would actually do that. I know people do it. So it's not like I don't believe women. It's just that I could never in a million years imagine myself ever. I mean, obviously, I would never do it. It would under no circumstances would I ever do it. And so I'm always like, really? Is that even possible? But I looked into this one. Doesn't look really good for the accused, And I'm not talking about Winkeljohn or them. Jon made it sound like these guys knew about this. That's just not true. As soon as this case actually happened, they kicked the guy off the staff. They completely disassociated from this guy completely, and the charges ended up getting dismissed. That said, the details of the case make me extraordinarily skeptical that he was innocent. But who knows? Because I can look at this one of two different ways. Anyway, we'll talk about it. If you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. So, just so I don't bury the lead, let me tell you guys what happened, okay? So, the Jackson Wink Gym had a dude on their staff named Rafael Barata Freitas. Now, I don't have any idea if this is a good dude, a bad dude, whatever. All I have is the data points that are in front of me from this case, okay? And I can kind of back into what I believe likely happened or didn't happen. I can tell you two scenarios of what could have happened, and then we can talk about the likelihood that that's what happened. And then we'll talk about how we even got to this place where we're talking about this publicly, because I had never even heard about this, okay? So the details of this story are, you got this dude, Rafael Freitas, who was the jiu-jitsu coach at Jackson Wink for a very long time. And what he was accused of doing is he gave home lessons like every jiu-jitsu coach, right? Like every jiu-jitsu coach does their classes, and then you can hire them to do one-on-ones, okay? So he would go to people's houses and do one-on-ones. I've gotten lots of, jiu-jitsu, classes at my house, or like one-on-ones at my house, plenty of times. But this was a girl that he gave it to, right? So he's doing it with a girl. Apparently, I don't know if they've done it before. I have no idea what the context of their relationship is whatsoever. But here's the story. So they do the class. She has cramps in her legs. He says that she should lay on the couch and he's going to massage her legs out. She apparently agrees to this. She goes into the bathroom. He grabs her orange juice and he goes like this over it. Something like this, right? And the reason I know this is because it was on camera that he was not aware was there. She had security cameras in her house, right? The kind of thing that really makes you feel optimistic about humanity. You're like, I'm sorry, did you slip something in your student's drink, right? And then so he gives it to her, she drinks it, she sits on the couch, she starts massaging her legs, and she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for... So according to the report, once she's asleep, he was like, oh, well, I'm massaging your legs. Maybe I'm not massaging your legs anymore. Let me just get these off you. Just really need to massage the inside of your legs a little bit better. And those are getting in my way. And then he apparently, did things that you're not supposed to do without permission, obviously. And then he took her hand and then used her hand to do things you definitely don't do without permission. And then he left, right? He left. And apparently, after leaving, she laid on the couch for 50 minutes before she got up, because it's all on camera, right? You got a video of this. So she just laid there for 50 minutes. He leaves, she lays there for 50 minutes, okay? So I think there are a couple things that you can just take for granted, right? Number one, the fact that the video got to the police means that she thought that the video was very incriminating. She thought that obviously this was going to lead to him getting convicted, or she wouldn't have gone through the whole thing and done the report and then given it to him, okay? That, I assume, is, you could take for granted. Number two, if it was some kind of conspiracy on her part to kind of pop him dirty and she knew about the camera and all that stuff, it takes pretty impressive wherewithal to lay on the couch for 50 minutes after he leaves before getting up if she wasn't actually unconscious, right? And the reason I'm saying this is like, if she lay there for 50 minutes, most likely she was unconscious, right? Now, is it possible that he didn't actually put something in her drink and it just looked that way? Sure. Is it possible she just fell asleep while he was rubbing her legs? I guess. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all, right? Hard to believe, to be perfectly honest with you. Like when I heard the details that all of that is on tape, and I can get into the specifics of what happened after he was like, let's just get these out of the way, but just take my word for it. He definitely had his face in places he wasn't supposed to, right? And yeah, I mean, these are hard details to refute. Here's the thing I don't know, right? Here's the thing I don't know. I have no idea what the nature of their relationship was, right? Like, had they ever done that before consensually? I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever. So I can't just I can't call this guy someone who does this consistently because I don't know. But it looks real bad, right? But then it got thrown out. The case got thrown out. So whatever, right? So this is not really about whether or not he did it or not. All I can say regarding that is that Jon saying he was convicted is not true, right? It's not true. Doesn't look good at all. And it sounds like the fighters at Jackson Wink certainly think that he did, or else I don't think Jon Jones would say that publicly, right? Like I think if Jon Jones says that publicly, it certainly speaks to the impression of the broader teammates, whether or not he did it, right? So, yeah, I mean, that's what Jon Jones is talking about. So this guy, the jiu-jitsu coach, went to somebody's house, blah, blah, blah. Those are the details. Now, how did Winkeljohn handle it, though, right? So as soon as this happened, Winkeljohn completely threw him off the team. He took him off the website, and he completely disassociated from completely, right? And here's the other thing about that. I think that this particular incident probably had something to do with why he asked Jon Jones to leave, right? I have a feeling that this story had a lot to do with why he asked Jon Jones to leave the gym. Because here's the deal. Let's get into what Jon Jones actually said in this tweet storm, right? So let me read these. Coach Wink gets it on national TV and tells the world what am I doing? Let me rewind, right? So initially, Winkeljohn went on Ariel's show and he said, look, I've asked Jon not to come to the gym. We want him to get his life together. We want him to stop drinking. We don't like this behavior. We can't condone this behavior. That just is what it is. Now, I thought that he was doing the right, I thought he was like being a good friend, to be honest with you. I thought like the way that he handled it was very tactful. I didn't think he was being, aggressive towards Jon. I thought he handled it really well. I had a lot of respect for the way that he handled it. Now, I've been rooting for Jon, right? Anybody who's got any kind of substance-driven issue, like I'm looking over there like, God, I hope he gets it together and I hope he can fix his life. And that's exactly how I've been looking at this thing with Jon. So I could say that I completely understand why Jon was so hurt by Winkeljohn doing that, right? Because Jon Jones is like, he's getting attacked from all sides. He's a real person. Like he's an actual person. And everywhere he looks, he's getting smashed for this. Now, I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, right? Like this is a bad incident. This is a really bad incident that happened in Vegas. And so, of course, I completely understand why he felt like, why he was taking all the heat that he was. But I also understand why he felt like, well, Winkeljohn's been the head of my gym forever. Like, there's no one closer to you than the people at your gym. And so he probably was hoping that the guys at his gym would support him. But I think one too many incidents, and this one involved violence on the women, so it is what it is, dude. But I understand why he felt that way, okay? But if you go back to Winkeljohn, it's like, dude, the gym is him. It's an extension of him. To not do something like that might be interpreted by people that he is condoning that kind of behavior. And now, in hindsight, thinking about that and then thinking about this incident where there was a ton of media about this and he had to be like, we don't know this guy, whatever, you can understand why he was like, I'm not going, like anything having to do with victimizing women, I'm out, dude. Like, you got to go. Like, you can't, that cannot be associated with my gym. Like, that makes perfect sense to me, why he would ask Jon to leave, especially given the circumstances that his jiu-jitsu coach may or may not have gone, here, drink it up. You know what's great for your muscle cramps is orange juice. You're going to love it. Drink it real fast. When you drink it fast, it just goes straight to the muscles. Now lay back and count backwards from 10. Count backwards from 10. Why am I counting back? Just count backwards from 10. Why am I just count backwards from 10? 10, 9. Right? So, that's that. Now, why did Jon blow up last week, though, on Twitter? Right? Like, why did he do that? Because I'm going to read those to you in a second. So, I'll only read you what he said on Twitter, and then I'll speculate. So Jon said, Coach Wink gets on national TV, tells the world he wants the best for me, and then behind the scenes is harassing the other coaches for continuing to work with me. What a miserable bastard. I didn't leave the team because I couldn't handle a punishment. I left the team because I wasn't training with Wink anymore anyway. The man hasn't taught the students a new technique since I met him. This dude somehow has found a way to run every single one of Greg's original fighters out. I can't think of a Jackson's veteran that still talks with this asshole. That was misspelled. Anyway, what type of friend gets on national TV and airs his brother's dirty laundry? That was his opportunity to take a moral high ground over someone who trusted him. He didn't give two shits about what actually happened that night. Anything for some publicity. If I was such a monster, he wouldn't be still trying to monetize off me being a former student there. There's a Jon Jones poster in almost every wall of that building. Wink suspended me from the team, and that changed absolutely nothing. I'm still working with the exact same coaches on the exact same schedule we had been working on for 2 years. We literally had a convicted arist training on the team for years, and now all of a sudden he has morals. Get out of here. So, here's what I think happened, okay? So I think that Jon jumped to a parallel gym where all the same coaches were. They kept working with Jon. I think Winkeljohn found out and he was like, are you guys serious, dude? I literally just said we're not working with him until he gets it together, and you guys just jump over to this other gym and now you're working with him as if I didn't say anything? That's disrespectful. You guys undermine me. I totally understand that, dude. Like, I completely understand that position. I'd be pissed too. I'd be like, dude, are you guys, like, what do you do? Like, and especially if some of them still work with him or work for him. Like, I would be like, you guys, did you not see what I just said? You know, like, you're gonna act like me saying that meant like, oh, but everyone that works for me could just go work with him over in this other building. I mean, come on, dude. I understand why he's mad. But if you're Jon, you're like, you know, Wink already, you know, I mean, in his mind betrayed him. I don't think he did, but in his mind betrayed him. Then he's working with these other guys. He's found a new kind of way of rolling. He's just getting going. And then he finds out that Wink called the other coaches and he's like, you're still working with Jon? What are you doing? They're like, look, Wink is pissed that I'm working with you. And Jon's like, what? What is this guy trying to do? Is he trying to like just completely derail my life? Like, I'm just getting things together. Now he's calling these guys that are still working with me, telling them they can't work with me? Are you trying to undermine me anywhere that I go? Why would you do that? I understand why both of them feel the way that they did. That doesn't mean one of them's wrong. It just means they're at an impasse, right? Sometimes you're just at an impasse. Someone doesn't always need to be wrong, dude. Sometimes there are just situations where everyone's going to be upset and there's no right answer. So I think that's one of these situations. I don't think anyone did anything wrong here, candidly. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, that's the story. So if anybody was wondering who that convicted arist was, there isn't one, but pretty goddamn close, right? So that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Peace.